So friends, welcome to the fourth semester. In this semester, we will see the subject discrete mathematics. This subject is a very simple subject. You can study all the chapters one by one in an easy form. Here, as you have seen that the subject of probability and statistics in third semester was also very simple. It is more simple than this subject also. So here there are some of the chapters from which I will teach you the chapters. First chapter on graph theory, then I will teach you on algebraic structures, and then recurrence, relations. These three chapters are very much important and they have a very good weightage in examination. Also, these chapters are simple to understand and you will come to know how the chapters are simple. There are also some other chapters which are more and more simple than this, but this will be taught to you by another teacher. So these chapters are just like set theory, which you have already seen at your school level, functions, this also you have seen at your school level. Okay? Then you will see about counting principle, that means NCR and PR, permutation, combination, like this. This kind of chapters will be taught to you by another teacher, but the basic main chapters that I will take to you, because in examination these chapters have a very great marking system. So actually it has the weightage of 25%, it has also the weightage of 25%, recurrence relation has also the weightage of about 10%, 5 to 10%, 5 to 10%. So basically the question paper, as in third semester, also same paper system will be there. 70 marks question paper will be there. 70 marks. Okay. And it is theory examination. And 30 marks is the weightage for mid-sem examination. Okay. So same exam pattern is here as you have seen in third semester for probability and statistics. So we will see all the chapters one by one, and there you will see how the chapters are simple. So first we will start with the chapter on graph theory. So you must note down the three chapters. Basically, what are these? Okay. So now let us start with the graph theory. First of all, I would like to give you some of the concepts of interesting point how the graph theory was developed. Actually, in your school life or at any other time, you must have observed the problems just like this. Draw this figure by using your pencil or pen without lifting the pen and without crossing the edges. If it is possible or not, you must observe this kind of problem. Suppose this kind of figure. If you start with this problem, then we can go in this way. We can cover all the edges, but we are not coming at the same point. We are not coming at the same point. If I will add one more line over here, then you can see that if we start, I can go in this way, but this edge will remain, this line will remain, it will not be traced, because to trace out this figure we must have to lift the pen. So you must observe the problems like this, that without lifting the pen, is it possible to trace out the whole figure? Sometimes it may not possible, or sometimes it may be possible, but for that we will have to follow the procedure of trial and error. By using trial and error, we can come to know if it is possible or not. Okay? Sometimes it is possible, in some cases it is not possible. So here, this actually the main problem arises from the Königsberg problem. Actually, this will not be asked in your examination, but if we will see this problem, then you will come to know, you will realize what we will see in the chapter graph theory. So Königsberg bridge problem is that in the one special city of Russia, Königsberg city is there, and there one river was there, Prigel river. The river is just like this. This is the river. You can see this is the river. The flowing water is here. This is the river. These are the banks. Suppose the A and B are the banks of the river. And in the river there are two islands. Two islands are there. These are the banks. This is the water flowing over here. And these are the two islands. Suppose this island is say C and this island is say D. And these islands are connected by the bridges, just like this. One bridge is this bridge. Second bridge is this bridge. Third bridge is this bridge. Fourth bridge is this bridge. Fifth bridge is between C and D. Fifth bridge, sixth bridge is here, and seventh bridge is here. So you can see that the two islands and the two banks of the rivers are connected by means of 7 bridges. So some person has created the problem to solve it, that whether it is possible to start from any one of the land areas. There are 4 land areas, A, B and C, D are the land areas, and these are the bridges. So is it possible to start from any one of the 4 land areas through bridges and passing through the bridges exactly once, not more than one. Okay, to pass through the bridge exactly once. So to start from any land area and to walk over the bridges exactly once. So is it possible to cover all the bridges without intersecting? That means if we have used this bridge to go from B to C, then we cannot use the same bridge to come from C to B. Okay, it can be used only once. Okay, so is it possible to cover all the bridges exactly once and come back to the same point B? So at that time, so many people have started to solve the problem. They have started by walking, they used bicycle, they used horses to see the problem whether it can be solved. But no one was able to solve the problem, because actually these banks the distance between the two banks, the two islands may be far, so it takes time. So people may people may put up the problem without solving it after trying some of the bridges. So meanwhile, there was a mathematician. You must have heard the name of mathematician Euler, who solved the problem. The problem is that, once again I am repeating, the problem is that whether it is possible to start from any one of the land areas and to walk over each of the bridges exactly once and to come back to the starting point. So Euler solved this problem, and the main fact is that here Euler never used to walk over the bridges. He never walked any of the bridges or started from any of the points. He simply has drawn the same situation on a paper by means of a graph. See here how he has drawn. He has considered the 4 land areas as 4 points: A, B, C, D, and the bridges, the connected bridges, then by means of lines. That means there are 2 bridges between A and C, we can see. So he has drawn 2 lines between A and C. Between B and C again there are 2 bridges. So he has drawn this. Between B and D there is a single bridge. Between D and B there is a single bridge. And between C and D there is a single bridge. So he has drawn this kind of figure on a paper, and then by sitting over a chair he has tried to solve this problem by going in this way. Suppose he has gone in this way, 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 in this way. Then again one line is remaining. That means one bridge is remaining. So it cannot be covered. So he has solved the problem that the solution of this problem is not possible. That means it is not possible to walk over all the bridges and come back to the same point, started point. You can start with A or B or C or D, but it is not possible. And this he has developed, he has given the solution by means of developing some of the theories. And this kind of theories we will see which kind of theories are there. So after studying the theory and the concepts of graph theory, you will also realize and you will also say that yes, I can do it in a simply without doing any process, that by just simply by looking at the graph I can say whether it is possible or not. You will say directly after studying some of the theories and some of the concepts. Okay. So here we can see that it is not possible to walk over all the bridges exactly once and to come to the same point. Okay. So here, this is the main problem which led to the graph theory, and actually graph theory developed from this Königsberg problem, but nowadays it is very much useful to the computer engineering and electrical engineering students in drawing a circuit, to make a part of the program, etc. It is very much useful. The concept of graph theory is very much useful. So now let us see, start it with the definition. So definition of the graph theory, definition of the graph theory. And that is not graph theory now, definition of a graph. What is a graph now? Now we will see all the situations of graph theory by means of mathematics. Okay. So first of all, let us see the definition of a graph. So you must remember this definition because it can be asked in the examination. So a graph is nothing but a graph G equal to V comma E comma phi, or G equal to V comma E. That means the graph we will denote by capital G and equal to in bracket v comma e comma phi, or simply we will also call this as g equal to v comma e. Phi sometimes we will use or sometimes we will not use, but mostly we will make the use of this symbol g equal to v comma e. Okay, consists of a non-empty set V of G whose elements are called vertices or nodes, or points. Okay, so here we will make the use of two sets V and E, where one set V consists of some of the elements which are known as vertices or nodes or points, and the set E, capital E of G consists of the points whose elements are called edges or lines or links and are represented by an unordered pair u comma v of elements of V. Okay, of elements of V. And the phi is the function from domain E and codomain P to V. So here I will explain the definition. The definition is just, you can see, it is a long, but it is very easy to remember and it is very easy to write. You can write this definition in your own terms, in your own languages also, but the concept must be preserved. Okay? So definition of a graph tells us that it is nothing but it comprises of the two sets V and E, where V is the set of vertices. You can see V is the set of vertices, or sometimes vertices may also known as nodes or points, and E is the set of edges. Sometimes it is also known as lines or links. So we will mainly focus on V and E. V is the set of vertices. Mostly we will use the word vertices. If sometimes we will require to use nodes, then we will use it, and this as edges. Okay, E is the set of edges. So you can write down this very easily. That means a graph G equal to V comma E, where V is the set of elements of G, whose elements are called as vertices. Okay, and set E is the set of elements of G, whose elements are called as edges. But in edges there is one more line is there, that it is represented, edges must be represented by the pair U comma V of elements of V. And phi, if you will write this sentence, then it will do. Otherwise, if you will not write, then also it will do. Phi is the function from domain E to the codomain P to V. Okay, P to V is nothing but the set of order pairs. Okay, set of order pairs, or order pairs, or unordered pairs. Unordered. Here unordered pair has the meaning, that means U comma V. If you write U comma V or V comma U, both are same thing. Suppose it will be clear to you from the example of the graph. Example, suppose I will draw V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. So here these points, these nodes or these vertices, these are known as vertices, okay? And these vertices are denoted by V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. So here in our case is V is nothing but V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. You can see, okay? So this is the set of vertices. And here E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6. So here you can see that the E1, E2, E3, E4 are known as edges. That means here E is nothing but E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6. Okay. So this is the set of edges. So here we have denoted edges by E1, E2, E3. But in definition we have written that each edge is represented by unordered pair U, V. So now let us see this. What is this? So here E1 is nothing but E1 is associated with V1 and V2. So we can write this as an unordered pair V1, V2. So if you don't want to write E1 and if you write in bracket V1, V2, then also it will do. This has the same meaning. If V1, V2 is also an edge. Okay, so edges can also be written into this form. Similarly, E2 is nothing but V2, V3. But you must use parentheses. You cannot use this kind of bracket over here because this is the unordered pair of elements of vertices. That means E2 has the end points. These are known as end points. Okay, these are known as end points, or sometimes also known as terminal points or terminal vertices. Terminal points or vertices. Terminal point or vertices. So V2 and V3 are the terminal points of E2. V3 and V4 are the terminal points of E3. Okay, and unordered pair means that here U2 we have written as V2, V3. You can also write this as V2, V3, V2. The meaning is same. It will do because it is an unordered pair. So order is not important. Unordered means order is not important. So you can write V2, V3 or V3, V2 over here. So here in this case you can see that phi is the function. We can also write this as E2, P2, V. Okay, just like in your school level you must have seen function. You can write f from A to B, where A is known as the domain and B is known as the codomain. So here E is known as domain. So here E is nothing but the set of edges. That means E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, or you can also write in this way V1, V2, V2, V3, dot. You can write all the 6 edges over here. This is your E. Okay. So you can also write parallelly with me, so as you will understand it very easily. And the P2V is nothing but here V equal to V1, V2, V3. So P2V is nothing but all possible pairs. Suppose V1, V2, V1, V3, like this. V1, V3, V1, V4, V1, V5, all possible pairs. Okay. So actually V1, V3 edge is not there, but P2V contains all possible pairs of unordered pairs of vertices, and E contains only those which are given over here, that means which are associated. Okay, but mostly we will focus on edges and vertices in its usual form, whatever here it is written. either E1, E2, E3 or in this another pair form. So definition, once again just I am repeating, you can write it very easily just like this after understanding this graph, that a graph G equal to B comma E comma phi or G equal to B comma E in which consists of an yes, and one more thing here you note that non-empty set V, non-empty set V, that means the set V G contains two sets B and E. Among these B must be non-empty. B must be non-empty. That means there at least one point in V. We must include at least one point. Yes, E can be empty set or non-empty, whatever it is. E can be empty. Okay. So there must be at least one element. Suppose A in an E, but E can be empty also. Empty set sometimes we can also represent by this one. Okay. So E can be empty or non-empty, but B must be non-empty. Otherwise the graph is not possible, because if there is no vertex, if there is no vertex, then there is obviously there is no edge. So graph is not possible. But if there is at least one vertex, suppose this is the vertex say A, there is no edge. This is the graph G, suppose. It is possible. If edge is not there, then there is no problem. But there must be at least one vertex. So it consists of a non-empty set V, whose elements are known as vertices, and a set E, whose elements are known as edges. Okay. Simply you can write this for the definition of a graph. So all of you note down this definition and try to understand. Okay, now just I will rub it out. Now let us see simple examples for your more understanding. Let example, let V equal to A, B, C, D, E, and E equal to A comma B, C comma D, B comma C, D comma E, E. Then draw the graph. Draw the graph. So it is very simple. In a solution, you can write down how to draw. Here there are 5 vertices are there, so you can represent them by means of a points. So A, B, C, D. Suppose you can. There is no actual pattern that you draw this in a rectangular form or non-rectangular form. You can put these points anywhere. Okay, but 5 points must be there, and A, B, C, D, E. Suppose you can also write down A, B, C, D, E here, or A, B, C, D here, whatever. Okay, so there is no special criteria that this point must be given name A, this point must be given name B. You can give any name to these points, but this must be from B. So there are 5 points A, B, C, D, E. And now edges. Which edge is there? A comma B. So we will join the edge, that means a line between A and B. So this is completed. Okay. Then C comma D. C comma D, that means the line between C and D. Then B and C, the line between B and C. Then the line between D and E. So this is the required graph. You can see. Okay. So the particular pattern is not required. You can draw this in any pattern. Okay. So the pattern of the graph is not so important. Now another example. Suppose let us see from the following graph determine B and E. So the graph is just like suppose these are the given names as V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. Okay, so from this we can see that in our solution V is nothing but V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. Okay, you can write down this up to V6. And E is what? E is nothing but this is V2. So V1, V2, one edge is here. This is one edge. Second edge is here. V2, V3. Third edge is here. It is V3, V5. Fourth edge is here. V3, V4. Fifth edge is here. V5, V6. Okay. So this is the set of edges. So we have written V and E. And also here you wrote that. Here I have written V5, V6 over here. You can also write V5, V6 over here, then V3, V4. Okay? No problem is there. So this is the solution of this problem. So you write down this and you can practice yourself how to write in this. If instead of this, if it is written here E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, then you can write down here this as simply as E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. Okay? It will do. No need to write down this into pads. You can write down this in a symbolic representation as E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. Okay? So vertices and edges. That means in simple way we can say that a graph is comprises of a vertex set, a non-empty vertex set and an edge set. That's all. These two are sufficient. So in a simple way, once again I will repeat, in a simple way we can say that a graph G comprises of a non-empty vertex set and an edge set. Edge, E-D-G-E, edge set. Okay? So here, this is the concept of graph, and we will see after then some of the important definitions based on graph. And these definitions are also very simple to understand and to remember. And by using these definitions, we will be able to prove the theorems very simply, very simply. And here the proofs of all the theorems are very simple, and you can write their proofs in your own language with meaning, with appropriate meaning. Meaning must be preserved there. Okay? Otherwise the language has no bar. So here, as I told you that 25% weightage to this chapter. So 70 marks question paper, theory question paper. So you will be at least 17 to 18 marks questions will come in the examination from this chapter. And here in this chapter, and one more important thing here is that in this chapter there is no major formula like integration, derivative, nothing is there. Simply here required the concept. Conceptual meaning must be there. Once if you will develop the conceptual meaning, then there is no problem. So you will have to understand what is a vertex, what is an edge. Then we will see different kinds of definitions, and by using those definitions, you will be able to solve the problems. Okay. So here is just the starting of the chapter, and from the next lecture we will see the further part of this chapter, and you will realize how the chapter simple topics are there and simple chapter is there here. Okay, and in algebraic structure also, in this chapter the chapter is based on set theory. Set will be there, and there are some properties, and based on these properties we will see there some of the examples, and it has also the weightage of 25% mark. So if you will learn these two chapters properly, then you will have no problem to get success in the examination. Okay, so this is the first lecture. So we will stop here, and further we will see in the next lecture. Okay, thank you.